There we go.
There we go. And I was asking you earlier. We were discussing this because you're one of the first people that gave me that idea about a title for this. I kind of want to do a series of this if this goes well, if this works out right. But basically, I'm calling it
Sure.
hobby dissensions, and with dissensions meaning like a difference of opinion. But I think in the word dissension, it defines it as a difference of opinion that usually leads to discord. But the keyword is usual,
Mm-hmm.
so not all the time. You know what I mean? So this is not trying to be an exact
Right,
dissension.
man.
Dissension.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's your internet or my internet, but we're kind of like buggy. I heard dissension, and I like that.
Yeah, hobby dissension is what I'm going to start off with, but it's not set in stone. Yeah, you're looking really. I don't know how you can see me.
I got you perfect.
Oh yeah,
Let's see.
I got. We've got one guy right
Yeah,
here,
you're
Ron Fig.
perfect.
Ron Fig, what do you see? Do you see us both good? One bad, two bad?
Are we messed up, Ron? Let me see. I can check this.
Yeah, Ron's a good guy. He's been on my house, man. He was at my house for like 8 hours one day. We spent like the whole day here. Yeah, Ron's a good guy. He's been on my house.
Really? Yeah, he's been on a couple
Oh,
of
wow,
my streams. He's been watching.
Yeah, I hear an echo on your end.
Oh man,
Do you have any idea why that is?
No, are we better now?
Have you checked your mic? Like, and it tells you like if you check your mic or your audio, and it tells you like there's the echo cancellation or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know. Hold on, we'll do it. Yeah, we're good. Okay, let me see. I may have to maybe if I hook up to my phone. Hold on.
I'll be here.
Bear with me. I know. Bear with me. Just stay put. Let me see if I can. Maybe it's me. Hold
No
on.
problem, man. Believe me, I started off this. I'm really bad with technology. As if this is technology. Hey, so what's up, guys? Wrigley and Ron Big who are here. Can you hear me good? Yeah, you're frozen on me right now, Andy. You're frozen. You're frozen like Han Solo. What's up, Isman? What's up, Bobby Burrell? What's up, Rude Dog 21? I'm good, right? Okay, everybody's saying I'm good, Andy. Something's coming up bad with you. What's up, Snoop? Snoop with the secret what is it like? How would you call it at the end of the DVDs? Like the special clips that weren't shown, deleted scenes from the National. Yeah, Andy was frozen like Han Solo, right? Like he just wasn't moving. Star Wars action. But hey, you guys, so all you guys that are joining, I got this idea. Do you guys tell me if it's any good, and we'll see how it goes from here. Because we're only going to be on an hour because the All-Star game is on.
Is this better? Any better?
It's a little better as of right now.
Man, I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi. Of course, it happens tonight, right?
Yeah, so I was just trying to explain.
Is this working? Okay,
go ahead. I'm not really sure. You're like frozen, and your voice comes out all like robotic, like Mr. Roboto.
Oh man. I don't know. Let me see if I. Terrible. I feel so bad.
So I was explaining to the guys what what I'm trying to start. I'm calling this show if I do a series called Hobby Dissension, guys, which means like difference of opinion. So obviously, you guys know from Andy, the investigator, he got popular in our side of the hobby YouTube world for his video about not going to the national. And I feel the opposite way. I would love to go to the national. I love going to the national. So that's what we're doing here is just kind of, hey, we're going to talk about our difference of opinion, but it's a chat. It's not an interview. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, can you? Are we better at all or no?
No, you're just being frozen all the time, and then your audio comes out with a little static.
All right, let me try something else. Hang on. I might come back. Hold on.
All right. So what's up, guys? How's everybody else out there doing? Obviously, this is a test. We'll see how he comes back. He comes back with the vengeance. So me and Andy were going to discuss a couple of things. Why he feels a certain way and why I feel a certain way. You know what I mean? Jelly Bean. Hope you guys understand a rubber band.
Is that better?
Oh, I got 3 of you guys now. Yeah, but that one looks good. Let me see if I can delete that one.
Okay. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm working off my phone. I think the internet's screwy where I am, but I apologize. Okay, I'm up with you guys.
Some guy Wrigley Regular just commented, "This is the worst show ever. I want my money back."
Well, we just
All right, so now we can get started.
All right, let's do it.
What up, Crosby? All right, so guys, this is Andy, sports card. What is it, sports card investigator? Or
that's it.
All right, got it right. Investigator. That's an interesting word in somebody's title for their channel.
It was just a play on words because what I used to do for a living, and my son and I were talking about it, and he said, and it's probably a mistake, right? Because people see invest, and then I get lumped in with all like the investors and stuff like that, which is fine, but it's really just me trying to help out and trying to do things, investigate ways for the hobby, like trying to help people out when they need certain things, like, if they have a question about like eBay listings or grading or really anything, how to do research. I'm just trying to like help better ways to do that.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I always try to help people out. I always tell people, hey, anything you need help with, ask me. But I always get questions like, hey, how do you break into a car? Hey, how do you change a tire? We have all these racist people on here, man.
Change a tire.
So that's cool. So how did you start collecting? How long have you been collecting? When did you start collecting?
Well, I mean, I think like a lot of guys, I mean, since I was a kid, I was always collecting cards and through my childhood, and then I kind of lost it a little bit. And then when my son was born, when he was about 10 or 11, he got into it. So that was something that we could do together. So we continued to do that. And then it continued ever since. And my son just loves basketball. I mean, he lives, eats, drinks it. He's a student of the game. Played through high school, went to Temple University, was the manager for the Temple men's basketball team for 4 years. Got a job out in the Bay Area. Now he runs leagues and he's a basketball coordinator for a big organization. It's something that we're so far away, because I'm in Pennsylvania and he's in California. It just kind of keeps us grounded and kind of keeps us together. And like with the YouTube thing, when COVID hit, I did a lot of consulting. I used to travel around the country and do consulting, and now I'm trying to get get back into that again. But that slowed down. And my background, with what I used to do, is a lot with education also. So we got together and said, hey, guys, why don't you go out on YouTube and just tell people your process and what you do and how you do things. And that kind of got us to even, interact more with each other. So it was fun. And I enjoyed doing it ever since.
Wow. So how long exactly in years has it been that you?
I don't want to tell you how old I am, but it's been a long. It's been a long time. I mean, it's and I did it with my dad. In fact, I was looking. We actually have a picture I was looking at the other day with my son, me, and my dad all around the table, like ripping packs. That was probably 17, 18 years ago. Yeah. So it just kind of brings us together. I mean, cards. I do it for fun, and I'm kind of a little bit different than a lot of people because I speculate on first year players, and we can talk a little bit about that. But a lot of cards to me are they bring back memories, and I like that, like of my dad and stuff like that. So I like that stuff. And then when I started to get involved more, and over the last couple weeks when I did that one episode, I forced myself to look into you guys, and I opened my eyes to a whole nother world out there, and I was telling you offline, I said the best thing that came out of this was meeting guys like you, and I can't. That's something that I couldn't plan, and it just happened, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, it seems like there's now it used to seem like YouTube was one community, but it's grown so big now. The baseball card aspect of it, there's so many different other groups of YouTubers now. It's not just one lump thing of collectors. There's so many different circles now too. So it's crazy, that day I don't know, I don't know how you came up on my algorithm. You know what I mean? It's like I wasn't subscribed to you. I don't watch, so many videos about this stuff, but you just came up on my thing. And I was like, wow, it was totally out of nowhere.
I don't know. I guess it's just because the way that maybe the wording was or something like that. It just popped up, and it was one of those things that took on a mind of its own. And I said in my video, my grandmother always said things happen for a reason. So maybe this happened for a reason, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's always cool. Ethan Elvis covers them more. He does a lot of breaks, and I've been watching him since I started. It's his birthday today, so I want to say happy 21st birthday.
Oh man, you're a youngster.
Yeah, and man, he's killing it in the hobby, and
I'll check him out.
Yeah, check them out definitely. And one of the crazy things is I have an Elvis Christmas CD that I've had forever, and it was just kind of tradition for me every Christmas to play that Elvis song CD. And one day it was just missing out of my CD case around Christmas time, and I was that. So I went on YouTube and I put Elvis on there, and I saw this guy Ethan Elvis. He's at that time, man. You're talking about 5 years ago. He was 16 years old, and he's doing Elvis covers, just doing Elvis karaoke.
Awesome. Yeah. So Elvis is he's one of my favorites literally one of my favorites of all time. And my mother-in-law has just gave me her whole Elvis collection, like Blue Hawaii and other. I mean, it's pretty cool, but Elvis is the king. So that's that's awesome.
He asked me to sing an Elvis song with him at the National.
There you go.
Yeah, let's see what we do.
Karaoke time.
But yeah, that was funny how I found him through that, and then I started seeing, and I remember in the background, I think he was in his dad's room, and his dad or the living room, and there's looked like some cards and decal cars, like racing cars and stuff. And I was like, hey, I wonder if this guy collects. Checked out more of his videos, and sure enough, he had some baseball card videos.
There you go.
It's strange how you find some people,
It really is. I mean, just going through all you guys when that video, I mean, so many cool stations and so many different stories, and it just happens. It just happens for a reason. I'm happy it did.
Yeah, and Ethan, he opens cards with his parents. That's one of the things, like how you said
awesome.
Also. you said also, yeah, he does breaks with his mom and his dad, like on YouTube and stuff. I never had that. That's one of the things that I hear so many other people talk about, like their dad did or they did this. You know, my dad used to buy me cards here and
Mhm.
there, but he never collected and he never opened them with me. He just loved baseball, you know, and
Yeah.
so, but I kind of hate it when people have giveaways or contests where they say like talk about something sentimental. It's like, man, I just been collecting. I don't have any cool stories or
Yeah.
close
The
attachment to it.
the story that I had, I have a couple binders that were my dad. My dad passed away a while ago, and the one story I put on my YouTube channel was I think you probably saw it, was the Mike Trout rookie I have behind me, and it was a whole story about my dad when he got entered into the Millville Hall of Fame for. It's a whole long story, but he started telling me about this kid that was going to Millville, his high school. That was Mike Trout. So when he passed away, my mom sent me like a bunch of stuff that my dad had stashed away, and one was the Mike Trout card. So sentimental stuff, man. It just means a lot.
Yeah, it does. So how did you end up started your channel? Like, when was the day you just say, boom, I'm starting my channel? And what was your ideas? What were you thinking of doing?
Well, as I said, when I do now, and I used to do a lot of consulting work. So I traveled around the country, and my son asked me. He said, if you're bored, why don't you just go on and just explain your process and stuff that you do with cards? And I was kind of like, not against it, but I didn't know what it would mean, what it would entail and stuff like that. And so I did one. And if you look at my early ones, I think I only did like maybe 30 or 31 videos in the last year and a half or whatever. But it's kind of like evolved, and I've kind of like changed things up a little bit, but it kept me busy. And I just wanted to do it to just to help as much as I could. And I would just record off a camera, send it to my son, and he would just do the rest. And that's how it kind of started. And I've been trying to do like one every week or every other week as best I could. And because I just don't want to be one of those guys that keeps putting out stuff and it's just the same old stuff. I just try to be a little bit different.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So you make your videos and or you just record a bunch of stuff and you send it to your son and he puts it together?
What happens is we'll talk about a topic. Like I'll say, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And then we'll kind of fine tune things. I'll put like an outline together of what I want to talk about. And then I'll record it. And then I'll send it to him. He'll do the editing or the production work. And then he'll download it on YouTube and go from there.
Man, that's interesting. A lot of people have asked me before, like, how do you do your editing? What do you use? Like, I don't have any editing. I just use the pause button. I just press pause.
Isn't it amazing though? Like some of these produced videos, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of work they put into those.
Yeah, like one of the guys, Snoop, he used to make these amazing videos called Around the Hobby, something like that. Sorry if I said it wrong, Snoop. I think it was Around the Hobby. And it was just everything that's coming up, products, everything that's coming out, and the news about sports cards and sports and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He had like the most amazing editing. And he would make one I think like every week. But he would say it would take him a whole week, you know what I mean,
Right.
to produce each one. Like the
I'm
amount of
sure.
hours he put into it was insane. But the production was like movie quality, man.
I know, like Sports Card Investigator, he does them. He's they're professionally done, and some other guys, it looks like they have like professional studios and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's terrific, but that's more than just putting YouTube videos out there.
Oh, that's one thing. A lot of people have been talking about is the people also who like have been going to card shows with like practically a camera crew with them.
Yeah, I know. I kind of kid around with that too. They go out there and if you look at the videos being made, you see them being followed around by the camera crews and stuff. I don't know if I don't have the budget for that. Do you?
No, not at all. Not only that, and I was thinking about, I wonder if they're going to do this at the National,
Oh,
because
they will.
at the National, you're going to have to buy every one of them a ticket also, a pass. It ain't free to just go in like a lot of the smaller shows.
Yeah, no, it's going to be something.
Yeah, but that is amazing, like the level it's gotten to, because this is something for us, at least in like my circle that I've been to, it's never been like this. And then all of a sudden, like, there's so many people now that are taking YouTube seriously, like the production, their sound, like but they're popping. You know what I mean? They're getting tons of views, they're getting tons of support. Even like the people who are getting money, like just so someone could have their comment highlighted, donate some money. But hey, if that's what you want to do it. It's a trip.
Yeah, it's definitely turning into a business for some of these, for sure.
Oh yeah, and successful business.
Yeah, I mean, people are making a living doing it, so good for them.
Yeah, I mean, the first person that I can remember that I could say was probably making a living off of it was Jab's family. I don't know if you're familiar with their channel.
I've seen them. Yep.
And man, and they used to get a lot of hate, but it's like, all right, all you guys hate him, but he's getting like 60,000 views, so obviously people like it.
A lot of views, right?
Yeah,
so
we're in the small chain of people who don't like him.
Yeah.
And not that I didn't like him. I didn't watch it. I was like, wow. I would get mad. It's like I could only give like one box of this or 2 boxes of that, and then he's opening cases of it. It's like, how do you do that?
Oh man, the money is just ridiculous. I mean, I know it's like when you're doing all that stuff. I saw. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
All right, so yeah, like me when I started my channel, I mean, I've been on here for 4 years, but I've been watching YouTube for like 7 or 8. Like, it took me like 3 years before I could start my channel.
Right.
And I remember when I would ask people, hey, how do you start a YouTube channel? And at that time, the people that I would ask, they would say, oh, you need a computer. Oh, well, I don't have a computer. Oh, then you're asked out. So I just thought I couldn't make videos, because I was watching, back then there was almost nothing but high-end collectors that were making YouTube videos.
Right.
There weren't really low-end collectors at the time. Because I remember one of the most amazing things to me was the mail days, like the care packages. They weren't really called care packages back then. Everybody was making blind trades.
Right.
But these guys would send each other like $300 cards, $500 cards. And I was like, whoa, and I would just watch. And it wasn't until like, when I started making videos, like we started sending each other like comment cards, for like, hey, you collect Dodgers? Here's a bunch of Dodger cards. Oh, thanks. I love the Dodgers, And it wasn't until then where low-end people got started with YouTube, it seemed like, you know what I mean? People who weren't necessarily collecting just PSA or high-end cards.
Right.
But yeah, YouTube has evolved, and now it's like making a 360, and it's going back to high-end people are getting into it again, or really high-end.
I noticed too, and maybe the guys in the chat have seen this too, over the last year and a half when a lot of the new YouTubers got involved, right? Did you notice like after they hit like a certain amount of subscribers, then they did a video telling you you can now do a YouTube video?
Yeah.
I guess once you hit that, you're allowed to do that after a certain. I thought that was pretty funny because it was almost like clockwork. After a certain amount of subs, here's how you could start your own sports card YouTube channel.
One of the things that I remember, and I really don't want to throw names out, but there was, we've had a bunch of like one of the groups that I used to watch when I first started were called the Hall of Gamers.
Okay.
And these were the high-end guys. They only had badass cards, And then like they got mad when all these low-end people were coming in and having low-end contests.
Sure.
But they just left. Like, it was a little rumble, and then they left, and they just started like a Facebook page, and they just kind of left YouTube.
Right.
And then we started this other thing called the Card Family.
Okay.
And we were popular for like a year, and everything was big. And then that just kind of faded away, and they went to Facebook, kind of left YouTube, most of them. There's probably only like 3 or 4 of us now that still make videos consistently. And then after that, there was a group called the Card Family.
Okay.
Not the Card. The Card Family. And they started off awesome. Like they came out hot, and it was new, and exciting again. I was like, all right, about time we got new blood in YouTube. And it was really exciting. But a lot of the guys that started it, their main goal was just to get 1,000 subscribers. And that kind of started turning me off. I was like, they just want to get 1,000 subscribers because at that time, YouTube had just barely changed the rules to you can't go live unless you have 1,000 subscribers. So now everybody wanted it. And so it started getting to the point where people just wanted 1,000 subscribers. They weren't just going to wait till they reached 1,000. They're like pushing for it. Smash the like button, and like just really pushing it.
Yeah, I get that. When I first doing this, my son, he told me, like, he would keep talking, because I would get like, people are so like subs and all that. That's what my son tells me every day. He's like, don't do this for the subs. It's just don't. He goes, if you're going to do it because you want to do it because you think you're helping people. But I just don't like the whole, some of it just turns me off, and that's why I started looking at you guys, and it's a whole different atmosphere. The guys that I guess on my algorithm that would come up were those, like, buy this pick or what I bought, what I'm buying, buy this now, buy that. And that kind of like was like, how do you know? Like, how do you know what to tell people and what not to tell people? And that kind of, I didn't want to do that kind of thing, because I never would. I just don't think that's right. Now, Picker Jim's on. Picker Jim's on the chat. He doesn't like me, but that's okay.
Yeah, you kind of ruffled a lot of feathers with that video.
And I admit it. Look, that video was just my opinion only, and I'll tell you, Picker Jim, that you're on there. It opened my eyes up to a lot of you guys, and I went on all your channels and looked at all your videos, and I completely understand why it rubbed you guys the wrong way. I will be in Atlantic City next year at the National. I'll meet all you guys, and I appreciate everything you guys said.
So let me tell my little side of the story with that for you guys. If you guys saw my video, with me, I remember I saw that video, and one of the first things that popped into my head when I started watching it, I was like, oh, this is clickbait. That was one of the first things, because you weren't really necessarily, I thought when I saw the title, I thought you were going to be saying the National is stupid, or, it only, talk bad about the people who are going. I thought you were, and me being a person that's going, I was like, oh, he's going to talk about people like me are stupid if we go. That's what I was thinking because of your title. It was really clickbaiting. But once I watched it, I was like, oh, this guy is clickbait. He's not really telling people not to go. He's really just saying why he's not going. And then I was just like, oh, he should have just put that in the title, why I'm not going. And then it kind of faded away. I watched the whole thing, and I was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. But like I told you, then it was my birthday, and we were drinking.
I felt
for some reason.
I watched that. I watched Baseball Collector. I watched. I was at a job. I think I was in Massachusetts. I woke up. I get a call from a friend of mine, Jordan. He goes, "Hey, somebody did a reaction video." I'm like, "Oh crap!" I'm like, "I don't want to deal with this. I'm already, it's like." So then I that night I watched it, and it was fine. I mean, I don't know Mike at all. I mean, I have no idea. I don't. But he was respectful, and it was perfectly fine. And then I watched the videos that he told me. So I went to your video, and I told my wife, I said, I ruined this guy's night. It was his birthday. I gotta send him a birthday present now because it got me so mad. And then I'm like, this isn't right. So then I started looking at everybody's video. And then I, went through the comments, and I totally get it. I totally get it. And it was not like that at all. And I throw my kid under the bus because he does the, because he did the title. But it was one of those things where it's like, again, I say it all the time. I'm glad, because if it didn't happen, I never would have saw the other side of the coin, right?
Yeah. Like with me, I had already kind of just pushed it to the side. And like I said, just because, I celebrated my birthday. That was my, I really celebrated my birthday. My birthday party was like on Sunday, the day before. And that was on a Monday, like my actual birthday I went out with just my family. But I had already celebrated my birthday. But, when I started drinking, and I just kept thinking about it. And that's when I started, you know what, man? But that title makes people think that the National is bullshit. And I just, honestly, it was just a beer. I got drunk and it got to me, and then I was like, man. And one of the things that bothered me too is I was waiting for somebody else to say something. And at the time, nobody else said anything, So when I got home, I was like, you know what? I'm going to say something about this. Yeah. I can't keep quiet about this. I'm going to say something about this. And then I made that video. And then a couple of days later, I started hearing about other people making videos.
Well, Mike did it. Eric from those back pages did it. Filmington did a video on why you should. They're all fantastic videos. And then I heard Jeremy from Sports Card Live, he did one about it. And I'm like, I felt bad because it wasn't meant to upset, as far as that. It was just my opinion, but I totally get it. And I'm a big guy. I mean, you guys, look, every one of you guys, I respect every one of your opinions, and I consider, even though I haven't met you guys yet, I can, consider you all you guys friends. And one day we'll meet. I'll buy you guys all beers. We'll talk about it. But again, if this never happened, I would never have met you guys.
All right. So just to stay on the little topic, and I was going to ask you about this, but anyways, so how do you collect? Why is the reason that to you the National does not make sense?
Okay. So now maybe it does, because just to meet you guys, right? Now we'll just socialize and have a good time. That's one of the reasons I said, if that's the case, it's definitely worth going. And I say that in my video. If you're going to go to meet up, have fun, a vacation type of thing, absolutely. But I'm like really specific. Picker Jim. I'll save up. I promise. I feel funny calling Picker Jim. What's Jim? Is it Jim?
Picker Jim S.
Okay. But so I'm kind of like a one-trick pony when it comes to collecting. I grew up loving basketball. As I said, my son's involved with basketball. I have friends that are involved in the NBA, some professional scouts. One of my best friends is related to someone who has a position in the NBA, and I just love basketball. So what I did was I target first year rookie players. It kind of sounds redundant, right? But like this year, I target three or four players that I think are going to have staying power, that in the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to remain relevant. And so I'll buy their cards, usually raw, have them graded, and then I'll keep some because if I think they're going to be long-term holds, or I'll sell them. So that's why. So I go to source cards. So that's why if it wouldn't be, for me, the price to go, staying, and then looking for the cards, I could probably do just as well on eBay or another platform. That's the only reason. But everything else is, this is everything I'm learning from you guys. It's fantastic. And that's all I do. Like, I don't collect. I'm not a collector. Like, I know you, we talked in the last few weeks that what you do and things like that. And for people that are going for, to look at the exhibits and things like that and vintage stuff, absolutely.
Like, you could almost say my first National, I almost had the same point of view as you did, not as much as investing or trying to make money, but I honestly wasn't there for the people.
Right.
Okay, I remember telling a couple people before, because people were like messaging me all the time, like, "Hey, make sure you do a lot of videos. Make sure." I said, "I'm not going there to make videos. I'm not going there to socialize. I'm going to go look at cards." I go, "I just want to." I'm the type of person that can have no money. I could be broke and go to the card shop and be there for hours
Right.
and then leave, and the owner be mad at me because I didn't buy anything. But I can do that. I could definitely do that. I could go with $20 in my pocket and hang out all day at the LCS. But once I got there,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my first day, I remember my first day being kind of disappointed. I was like, man, I didn't really get to look at any cards, because like I just kept running into people, and everybody you run into, you talk to, and you just keep talking and talking.
Mm-hmm.
But the next day, I went early in the morning, and a lot of the people, I don't know how it's going to be this year, but it's pretty empty in the morning.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A lot of people talk about they want to buy the VIP, so they're going a half hour early and this, and I was like, there was nobody there in the morning. It was really quiet in the morning every day almost. But by the time Friday came around and we had like Thursday night, we had a party. Baseball Collector had a party, and man, there was so many people there. And Blue Jacket 66, he had boxes of, Junk Racks era, but he was putting in awesome cards, just sneaking in some, Reggie Jackson vintage, some great cards in there. So then, like I remember because when he first put it out, and people are like, I'm just gonna open up some Junk Wax. And then once people started, hey, look, I got a Reggie Jackson. Hey, I got a Mike. Everybody started, hey, give me one. Everybody wanted to rip open those packs. It was a lot of fun.
No,
How often do you get to just drink beers at a bar with everybody breaking packs and everybody talking about cards? It's for me, it's once a year, and that's at the National. The next night, me, Philmanton, and Eloy the Goat had a party, and there was more than 100 YouTubers there, way more than 100. I mean, it was awesome, and there was people there, other collectors that I only see, like, I didn't know who they were because there's some people that just never show their face.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember people saying, hey, that's Foo. I was like, oh, that's Foo. Hey, that's Nuff Said Cards. I was like, oh, wow, Nuff Said Cards. Like, it's like, it's pretty exciting. And for me, like, I'm a big vintage guy. So when I see, there was people there with like those bulletproof cases with T206.
Oh yeah, the Pelican cases. Yeah.
I mean, man, just and like, to me, I don't know, just kind of saying it from the background I grew up in. I grew up in the streets.
Sure.
And I'm looking at these guys as like, there's like $1 million in cards right there. How is this guy just at a bar drinking beer with that thing wide open and just letting people look through it and look at all the cards? It's freaking amazing.
I still can't get over that because I see some of these guys walking around in like, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in cards. And yeah, it's crazy. But no, I totally get it. Yeah.
So this year I'm looking forward to the people, and cards are probably secondary, because the first attitude I had is like, I'm going to look at cards, and regardless, you're going to see the people. Now I'm going over there thinking like, well, I'm going to go meet with all these guys and I'm going to look at cards. It's going to happen.
That's the same, but you're going there for another. I totally get it. No, and look, we're beating a dead horse here. I totally understand your point of view. There was no ill will. There was no bad feelings. It was just like you said. It was like, why? But you know what? The more that I'm hearing from you guys, the more that I'm learning about you guys and everything else, I can't argue with any of this. It's great. And I want to tell you, Pepino, just all kidding aside, you reached out, and I really appreciate that. And that's something that in my old life, it was very tough to have friends outside of my job. It just was. And this whole hobby in the last year and a half, the good and the bad and everything else, it opened my eyes. And a lot of the hobby is filled with so many good and nice people that's something that is worth everything to me.
Yeah, the hobby is its own animal.
It
And
makes strange, odd couples for sure, right?
yeah, for sure. All right, so you said a lot of people tell me a lot of times, wow, you have an interesting job. But I gotta say, what were you working for? The Donruss Enforcement Agency?
That's
I
it.
mean,
Drunk every afternoon. That's what I was doing.
that
Yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
don't even
that
like to
sounds
say.
interesting.
I don't even like to say it anymore because people. I know it rubs people the wrong way, but that was my old life. I was with the DEA for 26 years, and it's kind of like this is all kind of weird to me because uh, I just it's very different to open yourself up, like be on social media and do this kind of stuff because it was just one of those things that I could never do before. But I like it, and what I try to do is bring my background into what I do on YouTube, like an investigative part of it. Like try to go at it from a an educational point, or if I was doing this or investigating or operationally, how would I do things? And I apply that to when I do research on certain players. I try to like really dig deep in because a lot of guys, not you guys like for collecting, but for like the guys that speculate, they look at card prices, and if the card price goes up, it goes down. But I like to look at what I think this guy's going to be doing in the next 2 years, like what his position in the league's going to be. And sometimes that takes a deep dive, and sometimes the prices really don't matter as much as how I think they're going to fit in and what they're going to be doing the next few years. So that's fun to me, speculation.
Yeah, that's one thing when you're an experience in the hobby. And once cards get older, players get older in the future, and tell me what you think about this. But I always feel like in the end, people are going to look at their lifetime stats at the
Mm-hmm.
end.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Like one example that I always give is like Ted Williams. He wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a very liked person while he was playing, but now if you look at Ted Williams, all you look at is his numbers. A lot of
Right.
people aren't going to know that he was kind of a jerk to the media and that he didn't like wasn't that a lot of his teammates kind of didn't really like him because all he cared about was batting. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's a baseball kind of thing.
Right.
And just like I remember when Judge was coming in, like people are even saying this about Ohtani. It's like he's really good now. Like he's great, so his value is really high.
Right.
But say 20 years from now, when you have his lifetime stats, he's 27 right now. Right? He's like 26 or 27.
Mm-hmm.
He might not get 500. He might, but he might not get 500 home runs in a lifetime, which is a big deal in the long run.
And I think that you bring up an interesting point is for basketball, because that's like what I look at. And Jim's right, prospecting. It's like I kind of like saying, like, if I'm going to look at players who I think are going to be the best in the next few years, what are those guys going to be? The problem that we had for like the last year and a half, 2 years ago, right? Everything was out of whack. It didn't matter who, you're going to make money on these guys. Yeah. Now things have come back to normal, where it's like, okay, you have to be careful on who you're going to select because you can't buy Kyle Guy. He's not going to be 30x after he hits a buzzer beater. Those days are not going to happen anymore, right? So it's real important because those guys were priced as if they already did something.
Yeah.
But they never had. So now everything's coming back to where it should. It's still in a great place. It's just not insane the way it was a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's something that one of my friends and I have a little thread of friends, and that was one of the things I always used to say is like, say Shohei Ohtani hits a home run right now and his price goes up so much. I was like, his prices right now are like 2030 prices, like what it's going to be in the future, because it's going to go back down, but that's just to be the norm right now. Is like, he has a good night, especially in basketball. He has a good night. Everybody, all you see his everybody on eBay popping up his card,
I've never seen anything like that where in basketball, when they're in the bubble or a preseason game, they would do something well and their card prices would go up. It didn't make any sense at all, but it was all the new people coming into the hobby, listening to people, and they're talking like they were already in the Hall of Fame, and the guys aren't even in the league anymore. Some of them.
Yeah. I mean, investing was easy to do. Like my friend John Mangini made a video about that, because he's into the stock market, and he compared it with cards right now. It's like there's times when like everything is hot.
Right.
Everything
Right.
anything you buy is going up because everything is going up. But it's not like that forever. And then you have people who just started, who got into it because they're doing it and being successful. They think like it's like this, and they're trying to tell you how to do what they're doing. It's like you're just in the right time.
It 100%, because here's what happened. A year and a half, 2 years ago, you had this influx of YouTubers come in, and whatever they said was right. You could look at the Rookie of the Year list for when John Zion came into the league, right? Every one of those guys, you could have bought them, and if you bought them towards the beginning, you were going to make money. And it kept expanding every single week, right? So first you had like John Morant and Zion, then also you had Kendrick Nunn, then you had Tyler Hero, and then you had all these other guys that came in, right? And it was easy because you could have just picked them out of a hat and be like, okay, this guy's going to make money, and you did. Now, not so much. So now it's getting. I enjoy it because you really have to think before you put your money in. And now with the price of cards, the price of wax, the price of grading, the lack of grading, you have to really, everything has to come into that equation, or you're going to get hurt. And I think some guys are going to get hurt that have just jumped in.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I heard like talk about how like the Jordan and the PSA 10 at the highest sold for like 890,000.
The last one sold for 282.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. If you bought that card at almost $1 million, you lost a lot of money. Unless
you have that, if you're buying a card at that price, maybe the money doesn't mean that much, right? That's a lot of money.
I thought it was funny. Somebody made a video, and they were talking about somebody who bought a Babe Ruth, and they were saying, "Hey, he bought the whole thing. He didn't buy 10% of it." Like all these other.
I don't understand that. Do you? The whole fractional ownerships.
I think that's what they try to do is like sell that car later, and you can make whatever your fraction is, you make a profit of that. But now you're losing.
I looked at that one of those, I don't know which one it was, but it was like a card, and when I looked at the price of the card, it was overpriced. Like they're speculating, I guess, on what it's going to be, and I'm like, that didn't make much sense. But I'd rather own the whole card. I don't know about you, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, I had a person who was trying to sell me a card in like a GMA or some label, and it was graded kind of low. And he said, "Man, I looked this card up and over, but I know for a fact if you were given a PSA, it would get a 5. So I'm trying to sell it for this." And I'm like, that makes no sense to me. I was like, I'll pass.
I don't know. I mean, that's the whole thing. And then it's like you own such a small amount, like on these shares. Like, I don't know. That's not for me. The whole fractional ownership. I don't understand it. But hey, some people like doing it.
That's to each their own. So with one of the things that I wanted to ask is your because of the video, the second video you made at the beginning, you were like, "Hey, my algorithm thanks you." So I was like, man.
I think what happened was and I asked my kid about this because maybe some guys in the chat know more about it than I do, but I guess if you have a lot of interaction on the video, whether it's good or bad or comments, I guess it kind of like pushes it out. I think that's one of the 7 wonders of the world, how YouTube algorithms work. I have no idea. It's just, I know that a lot of guys, when they do like the titles, and I don't do it, it's like what I'm buying now. Here's top 5 cards and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I think that maybe that does something, but I don't know how those algorithms work.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Not only that, let's just say when yeah, I just thought you had like a trick or you knew what you were doing with the algorithm when you were like.
No, I said Bowman 1951 said downvotes don't matter, they help you. I that's probably true. Like I said, my kid he does it, he puts it out there. But honestly for me, the subs, because my son always jokes around me. He goes, when you hit 1 million subs, then we'll talk, right? Because it's like you're a little tiny algae in the pond. He goes, just have fun with it. And I said, I am. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm approaching like 5 years on YouTube, and I got like 2,500. So
That's
really,
awesome.
I average like 500 a year. That's not a lot, but when you've been doing it for a long time, they just add up.
And then I was
watching.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's one thing I don't do is I don't do I've done clickbait titles as a joke, but I never do clickbait titles like to try to gain subs. Now even when I do giveaways, I don't even put it in the title anymore because then you just get I gotta say people. I care about downvotes. Yeah. I care. I don't like them. I don't like downvotes.
You're a sensitive guy. You just don't want those people to come on. We'll do a video.
I don't give downvotes myself. Even if I hate your video, I won't downvote it because karma. I just think that it's gonna come back to me.
I'm a lot like you. Bowman, I think you're right. I think is it Sports Card Investor has 100,000 subs? I think he might be I think Pac-Man may have. He does breaks, and maybe he has.
There's a lot of people that have a lot more than that too. There's just some people that have tons.
Yeah.
And like there's a guy, LA Beast, man, and so say even Jake Paul, whatever the Paul brothers or whatever, Logan's, man, they have millions,
And then I was watching this show on HBO about Fake Famous. Did you watch that on HBO?
No.
Check out that. That'll open your eyes. It's like how people, you can go on these sites and they buy likes, they buy subs. That's horrible, honestly.
I'm just not into that.
No.
I mean, I'm not a fan of attracting trolls, and usually that's what happens if you're just clickbaiting or if your algorithm is just strong and it just pops up on everybody's feed. Like, I remember I used to have fun with trolls when I first started, and I would get trolls. And, I remember getting a lot of racist comments all the time, obviously, because I'm Mexican. Like, hey, what are you doing with that card? Did you steal a hubcap to buy that card?
Man, that's
and
ridiculous.
I'd just be like, no, but the comments don't bother me. I would just be like, who the hell steals hubcaps? I steal the whole rim, and I would play along with them. But the more that you conversate with them, the more they keep coming back, and then it's never ending. So there was a point where I'd said, you know what? I'm just not even going to respond to them anymore. And it got to a point where I just didn't respond to comments, period. Almost even till this day, I don't respond to comments. I could have 40, 50 comments on my videos, and I almost don't respond to any of them unless it's kind of an important question.
Yeah, I do that because, again, I say, like, especially on the last one, if you guys had enough to comment, then I'll do my best to answer your, but like, there's some people on YouTube that they could get hundreds and hundreds of comments and they never respond at all. So I don't know what the best route is, but I want people to know that, look, if I care about what I put out there, and if you care or disagree, then I totally respect that, but I'll answer your questions or I'll answer your comments.
Yeah, normally I only answer like the questions when somebody's really asking something that needs an answer. But for the most part, a lot of them are like, hey, great video. Hey, nice cards, so they don't really require.
Or sometimes they'll hit you on Instagram if they have a question or something like that, which is fine.
Some people are asking how much time I got how much battery life I have on my phone.
Okay, you have 6 minutes because that's when the All-Star game is on.
For you guys don't know, we know the All-Star game is, so we agreed to be under an hour. So what is your most viewed video?
I think it is a changing strategy in the down market or the softening market, where basically it's picking the right cards. If you're going to buy raw cards and grade them, it's how to pick the right cards, because a lot of times if you pick the wrong cards and you grade them, they're not going to be worth it at the end. So it's just basically just having the thinking it through to before you're getting cards graded, because I always joke around that you get a bunch of $25 paperweights, and now with PSA, they might be $50 paperweights, and there's a lot of cards that are waiting to come back that people are kind of like, oh crap, when they come back, I'm going to be in trouble, and I don't want to see anyone get hurt.
It's amazing. That's one thing is in life, the you never know factor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in sports, there's always a chance of injury that just ends your career. But also now, like this whole PSA thing, there's so many things. Like you could have sent a card that in a PSA 10, when you send it in, would have been worth 5,000. Now when you get it back, could be worth 500. You know, and you bought it for 1,000. So
it's a lot of guys like, and again, because it's basketball and it's what I look at, sending in Bobo to get. Now he's like nothing. Like it's horrible. And like all these guys got, you know, like I don't even want to think about that.
A good example of something just recent that you just never know. You can't predict. Just like COVID was, you couldn't predict that.
Right.
But I have a friend who was telling me, he's like, man, I have a bunch of Trevor Bauers out to PSA.
Oh man.
Like now, I don't even think I could make a review video about him. You know what I mean? Like he invested in Trevor Bauer. He was a big Trevor Bauer fan because of the vlogs. He was really into the vlogs and stuff. And you know, and he was a pretty decent pitcher. But now he's saying, he's like, oh man, he's like, I don't think I could post a video up if I'm showing my Trevor Bauer graded cards anymore. Like, damn, you know, unpredictable.
Let me ask you this, because this is your expertise and it's not mine. With Acuna getting hurt, is that really going to affect his cards, or are people going to he'll be back okay, or what are you thinking?
I think people who are experienced in the hobby, who've been in it a while, are going to understand he'll be out a year and come back, and he's still going to be good. You're like, what's the difference really if you have a 17-year career or a 16-year career?
Right.
It's not that big of a difference. If you're good, you're good. I think a lot of people, it's look at Ohtani. Ohtani's cards were cheap when he blew out his elbow. Now they're exploding. You know, they're where they were before. Like his cards are super expensive. He was one of the most sought after rookies, you know, like in 17, 18. And he blew his arm out and people were selling his stuff for cheap. And now look, there's a lot of regret out there for people who passed on those cards for cheap.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I know in the basketball realm, you get that panic sale, you know, especially if they're newer players, you know, you'll get that panic sale. But the guys who are experienced, they know they'll be back. They'll be okay. It's just making sure they'll be able to be close to what they were. Yeah,
and you always got to and PSA is human. You know, there's so many people that post videos. They get a PSA that was graded an 8. They break it out, send the same exact card back in, and come back a 10. You know? Or the opposite of people who break out a 9, 9.5 thinking, oh, you know, I'll shine it up and they'll get a 10. And it comes back 8, you know, worse. You just never know.
That happened to me. I bought a Kobe Bryant star date rookie card, and I made a mistake. When I sent it in, I put minimum grade of 9, and it came back ungraded. So I just wanted to get it slabbed. So I sent it back, came back a 9. Who knows? You just don't know.
Yeah. The human element. But the All-Star game is about to start. Man, thanks.
Hey, man, this is a pleasure.
But we agreed to do an hour.
We'll do it again.
All right, guys. Hey, everybody. Love the hobby. Keep collecting baseball cards forever.
Guys.
Thanks, Andy.
You got it, bro.
Hey.